will talk about trends in higher education, and this presentation is not meant to be inclusive, and I will be focusing on things that touches me and my own experience rather than like very global thought for the trends. Why do we care about this? Because we need to be like involved with our society. We don't need our university to be like left over or like be outdated. And those trends actually will put challenges, but it brings opportunities. And for any change, as we all know, there is a need for new solutions. I categorized my observation into 4 categories. The first one is regarding student profile. We have some changes in the students that we are dealing with. For example, the age of students tends to go higher. The students tends to have gap years, tends to take their time before joining university, and this is sort of like a global kind of like trend. Also, we have more and more students who are studying undergrad while working. This is new. Like I start to see it more and more in the past 10 years. We have mobility. Students would like to go for different countries, would like to study like 1 year in this country and have a chance to go 1 semester for this country. Why? Because like they are exposed to media, to YouTube, to travelers, to video blogger, and so on and so forth, and they want to try this more and more. And the expectation of the students also is changing. The students is expecting more fun, more social, more tourism, more entertainment while they are getting their degree. Because this is their life, this is their age, they have a lot of arguments that will not end, and we have 2 choices, either to try to stop them and will be kicked out of their way, and they will continue their life with their own lifestyle, or we try to cope up with their like thoughts and use this motivation and this energy and this love for like social interaction to educate them, or like to help like this energy directed in the right way. Sorry, I don't keep up with the slide because I don't see it.
You can use this mic.
Translation. Okay. Okay. Because of this expectation and a lot of exposure to people who like just like achieved a lot of money in very short period, a lot of like cinema stars, a lot of players, a lot of like very pioneers in business that they make a big achievement in very short time. The hope and ambition of students are getting very high, and they are a little bit detached from reality. And actually, I'm observing more and more gaps between like the ambition and the capability of students. They are interacting with technology more and more, and they would like to be entertained, or like they would like to have like more interaction. Much different profiles than what was like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Things are very dynamic in this area. Also, like sometimes there is a lot of cluttering knowledge source. I read this in a documentary. I watch this on YouTube. I see this on the TV. And just like they pick a name from one of those sources, and you say this name in the lecture or this terminology, and then they jump up and down thinking that they know. And the reality is this is sort of like vogue or like cluttering sources that is like making noise to the knowledge that you are trying to transfer or the education that you are trying to give. Of course, there is like changes in the lifestyle, a lot of changes, like think about how we were like paying our bills 10 years ago and how we are doing it now, how we're communicating 10 years ago, how we are communicating now, and all of this are affecting the students. So those like sort of like challenges are like pushing us to suggest and work on solutions for them. For example, like I think, and we must work on like more access to reality. Some good ideas is like bringing alumni from the same department after like going for the workplace for 5 years or something, coming back and telling students what is the work is about from different sections of like work, and tell the students how the job life looks like. More internship, more projects or like courses that is sponsored by companies, like tutorial, training, projects, courses, all of this like bringing students more to real life and like detach them a little bit from this virtual world. And also because of like this mode change of students, there is a need for new like teaching and new education methodology that is more interactive, that is like challenging them more, that is teaching them life skills on top of the academia. This is a big opportunity for us academicians to get involved more and more with the student and get closer to their lifestyle. One other aspect that is having like changes in trends is the curriculum. There is a lot of pressure on the curriculum coming from like the lifestyles that we have. Like as I said in the morning, the debate between how much breadth, how much depth is always there. How much is enough for a high quality graduate students from undergrad is like long living debate. When would we start to narrow down the scope of the students and go deep? Is it like in the master or it is in the PhD or when in his career should we narrow and go deep? So this discussion is actually like, as I said, it's always going on. And this discussion has even like had some heat added to it by the need for interdisciplinary skills and knowledge in the workplace. So now we have a lot of projects that's mixing between different departments to fulfill the need for the new like technology. For example, mechatronics, that's mixing electronics and mechanical engineering to go up for robotics and this kind of stuff. And like e-medicine, that's like taking a lot of like software engineering with medical skills, so on and so forth. Medical management, that's mixing between medical and management, so on and so forth. And this is going on, and more sort of like department or specialty is going on. Another source of pressure here is the expansion and branching of science. So 30 years ago, we would say electrical engineering. Now we have electronics. Then under electronics, we have communication, we have control, we have electromagnetics, we have so on and so forth. You go for each field, it is branching and expanding. Branching and expanding. So how would we cover all of this is really a challenge, and it requires a lot of creativity. And also, I suggest that each university to seek its own personality, whom I'm serving. So if I'm working for like a society that we don't have, for example, like nanotechnology, why should I spend too much like effort in educating nanotechnology? It is maybe like it's needed in Europe, maybe it's needed in Japan, but if my country doesn't have this technology yet, we can give it to like one specific institute to work on it, prepare the scene for it, but for the other institutes, it needs to be more closer to the society. So again, we need to be more involved with the societies that we're serving, with the needs of our like cities, our country, our region, and don't be tempted by like just following the trends that's internationally active, because we need to look for whom we're serving first and prioritize our curriculum. Also, like emerging technology is another source of putting pressure on curriculum. So now we have artificial intelligence, we have analytics, we have data science, we have like 5G, we have like satellite communication, we have with virtual reality, like e-medicine, e-surgery, robotics. All of this is evolving and developing, and it requires new kind of knowledge. Who's gonna cover all of this? And to reach to this level, you need to cover like the basics. So there will be always a fight between breadth and depth, and we must seek a balance between our curriculum and the communities that we're serving without losing the like attention to like doing something beyond like developing, looking for the future at the same time. This is very critical. Like reaching a balance is very critical with all of this fast changing that is happening. There is also like for the curriculum, as I said, like students would like to go from one institute to the other. And this is also putting pressure because cross-institutional degrees, or like we have this Bologna thing like ECTS, how we transfer from one university to the other, what is the mechanism, so on and so forth. This is also putting pressure on our curriculum and putting more requirements to keep up with the trends. There is so many solutions for this, and of course, like this is like sort of like a spectrum of solution, and different universities should pick and choose from those. We have like a need for continuous education. The continuous education can be postgraduate, it can be online, it can be in-job, it can be public courses, it can take many different forms, but we all agree that we need to have like continuous education for even the people who are in the task force now to keep capable of doing the jobs that is needed in the market. So the continuous education is not like a luxury anymore. For me, like it looks like it's a must. You need to keep like yourself updated, the task force updated, and this kind of things, as we heard in the morning, we have, for example, Aselsan Academy that trying to bring their employee up to speed on the topics that they are handling. This is happening over and over in almost like all industries. One other field of dynamic changes is the job market requirements. There is a change in the requirements, and these changes are dynamic. Even like very big companies who are picking and choosing from top universities. I'm here talking about Intel, Microsoft, Google, IBM. They are saying we are suffering with the students. They are not skillful enough to carry the jobs that we have in the 21 centuries. And there is a trend in like the world talking about 21 centuries skill set. So they are talking about the personal skills on top of the academia. This is required. Critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, communication, collaboration, media literacy, technology literacy, so on and so forth. The requirements is increasing and it's dynamic, and we need to take this into consideration. Try to embed those kind of, like developing those skills into our curriculum is a must. It's not, again, it's not a plus. It's not like just to, like a competing edge. It is becoming a must. Otherwise, the university will lose the attention of students as well as people in the marketplace. Again, continuous education, continuous capacity building, industrially sponsored activities, a lot of open dialogue with industry is becoming like more mainstream rather than like a point of like being like superior. No, it is becoming like a main practice now. Okay, sorry for going fast because I need to keep the time. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is the institutional trends. Institution all over the society is changing, and here like people are more highly digitized, more usage of ICT, more analytics, more feedback, more adaptive. Like people are trying to like do better service, integrate service. And this is happening everywhere. It's happening in the traffics, it is happening in the healthcare, it is happening in utilities, it is happening in home services, it is happening in cities, it is happening over and over again. And if you look here, I would say that there is some scattered activity to keep the university up to date with these changes, and this is where we came into the picture. We are trying to bring a holistic approach to the universities, to the higher education society and stakeholders, which is the Smart University Foundation initiative, which was created to help universities to do this job, this transition, this keep up to date with the changes in our lifestyle in a better way and in a good way. And that's why we have initiative and we have focus on campus education, research, people, quality, recruitment, governance, and more is to come. So this kind of change or this kind of trend is happening in a scattered way. To bring it in an integrated and holistic approach is our responsibilities. We think that Smart University Foundation takes the first step, and we are working and with most of you in the future to make this kind of trend happening instead of waiting for it to happen, then try to catch up. Thanks everybody, and sorry for being long.
Yeah.